Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back, it's Twiz. This video is our 250 subscriber special, so first of all thank you guys so much. It really means a lot to me. Nonetheless, only 1/5 of you guys watching are subscribed, so to those of you who haven't done so already, please hit that button down below. Also consider ringing the bell if you want to get a little notification as soon as another video is available. Hop on the Discord if you need further Factorio help, or check out my other social links in the description. But now, enough of that advertising crap. Today I'll show you an automated train system that we're also using in our current vanilla playthrough, as you can see right now. For me, it is the best alternative to LTN. I actually consider it to be way better than LTN, as it doesn't require too much thought and no mods. It's based around two systems that I found here on YouTube. One of them being the Madzuri's balanced train load and unload, and the other one is a way how Nilaus had set up his trains in a playthrough long ago. I'll put links to those in the description. But I've not only thrown them together, instead I've refined them to make them work exactly the way I wanted to. Before the question comes up, of course there's gonna be a link to my blueprints for it in the description as well. So let us finally start. To do so, we'll simply click into one of these trains, in this case iron ore. So first of all it goes to the depot, it waits there until the fueling inserter gets inactive, and next up it drives to the provider station where it'll wait for full cargo, as well as inactivity to make sure the inserters are done loading. Afterwards it goes back to the depot and waits there until a requester station which needs the material the train is delivering is free. As that happens, it'll go there and wait until the cargo is empty and the inserters are done. And then, of course, it starts from the beginning on. The advantages of this system are quite obvious. First of all, it's super easy to copy the train schedule and to implement more trains. Next up, it's super easy to copy the stations as well, as they are all having the same name. For example, this is iron ore and this is the requester station symbol or requester chest symbol, but in this case it's for the stations. And of course this one has the same name. So every station that requests iron ore will get this name. We have, for example, these two over here, then we have some more for iron smelting, these are for steel, and then, for example, well, a little sneak peek for you, we have a big smelting area up here, where we'll have those as well. Then, next up, of course, the same thing for provider stations. They're all called the same, or actually the iron stations are all called the same, of course. For example, there and there. And one more there. We have a couple more going on somewhere else, I guess. So that's really easy to copy the stations. And the best thing in this whole network is that all of the stations are hooked up to our circuit network. That means we can simply see what is going on. So, as you can see on the right hand side, we have 56 iron plates being provided. That means 56 trains of iron plates being provided, 24 of copper, 21 of stone, 19 of iron ore, and so on and so forth. So green means it's being provided, it's in chests in stations. The red signal, on the other hand, means that it's being requested. So now you're probably wondering, why are there things requested and provided at the same time? In this case, especially the copper and iron plates are not being transported yet. I haven't implemented any trains for those. So that's why they're provided and requested at the same time. The same thing goes for coal. We have a few trains delivering coal, but as you can see, not enough. Then another cool thing is to have these very simple light bars which show you what is being provided and what is being requested. Provide on the left side, request on the right side. But I'll do a separate video on how to build these, and well, you can watch that in the future. So next up, I'll explain you the stations in more detail, but we'll do that in our tutorial world. Here we are in our tutorial world, and we have our three types of provider stations. First of all, one with a few descriptive combinators, and then a little more compact version with red belt and blue belt. Okay, so how does it work? First, let me explain how the Madzuri balanced loader works. That's this combinator mainly. It basically takes in the amount of items in the chest, so the total amount, and divides it by the negative number of chests, in this case 24. So we're having some kind of a negative average of what is in the chests. It then passes this value to the inserters. The inserters are also connected individually to their chests. So what happens here is basically a comparison whether the individual chest is filled more than the average chest, and the inserter only works if the item in the chest is less than the average. So we have our condition here that everything that gets into it, as long as that's smaller than 16, the inserter will work. If you get this number lower, the whole thing will be more precise. If you put it higher up, then it'll be less precise but faster. But if you put it to 16, it's definitely gonna consume a red or a blue belt, so it's fine with 16. You won't have to change anything about that. Next up is the train system itself, so let's just follow the path of this cable. We also put out the amount that is in the chest to this combinator, which divides it by, in this case, 16,000, so that's the amount per train. So if you're not dealing with copper plates or plates in general, things that have a stack size of 100 basically, you will definitely have to change that. For example, for ore, this would be 8,000. For green circuits, which stack up to 200, it would be 32,000. And then this value gets put into these two combinators, which also get the value in from this one. And this is basically the train limit, as it also tells you here. So if you're having the space for 2 trains here, put it to 2. If you have a stacker for 10 trains, put it to, well, 10 stackers plus the station itself to 11. But actually that would be kind of extreme. If you're having like a setup like this with 1 train behind it, it's definitely gonna be fine. So what does this thing do? It basically compares the output of this one and returns the lower one. So if this one tells the thing that it has 1 train available of items, then it's gonna be 1 that is get put into here. If this one's for example putting out 3, then it's the max, which is currently 2. So it returns the lower value of these 2 combinators. Then this is turned into the signal L and simply put into the station to set the train limit. And the final thing that is going on here is a very important thing as well, and that is to get the amounts of trains available here, so the available provided trains, to this combinator, and it then just multiplies it by 1, and the output is then the item which you provide. In this case, copper plate, that is put onto this power pole, and this power pole you'll have to connect to your city block circuit network. So you have, like I've shown you in the vanilla playthrough map, that you have these on the power poles, or if you're further down the line, on your combinator light bar setting, so you know what is going on inside your base. Okay, so that's it for the provider stations. Those basically do the same thing. What do you have to do when you implement one of these? First of all, set the amount per train, which is this one here. Set the train limit, which is this one, and this was the amount per train. And then over here, the loaded item, which is this one, which you'll have to set. Okay. So here we have our requester stations. All have the requester symbol in there. And basically we have the same 3 types, one with descriptive constant combinators and 2 more compact versions, red and blue belt. Okay, so what is going on with all these combinators? It's a little more complicated, but not too much. So first of all, we have this one for the Madzuri's balanced unloader in this case. It divides it by the negative amount of chests, and then it passes that value to the inserters, which are also hooked up to their individual chests. And of course here it works the other way around. It must be higher than -16 instead of lower than 16. Basically it compares whether the chest, the content of the chest is higher than the average value. If it is so, then the inserter will be active, and basically that's it. So next up, the value of, or the total value of items in the chest is also passed. Well, let's get rid of this power pole for a second and put it here. Is passed to this arithmetic combinator. In here you'll have to set how much you want to get here. I just calculated how much is possibly in these chests, so how much space there is, and that is 115,200. We subtract the amount of copper plates in the chest, so in this case you'll have to set the item which you're using here and also here, because then the amount of copper plates is passed to here. Here it is once again divided by 16,000. Then this value is passed to these 2 combinators, and the decider combinators, which compare it to the constant combinator here and do basically the same thing as on the provider stations. These pass the value to our train limiter, and that multiplies it by 1 and puts it out as an L. In here, make sure to have that tick to set train limit and the train limit to L. But this one also passes it to over here, and there we also have the copper plates, of course. Then this is passed to our general circuit network. Very important, here we have the connection with red wire, as we want the requested items to appear red on our power poles. And here we have it with green wire. So we want the provided items to be green and the requested to be red. Okay, so I guess that's it. Basically, that's how it works. Here we are back at our vanilla playthrough. I wanted to point out a few small things. And that is, for example, that of course you'll need to set up a train for each item that you want to ship. For example, we have our iron train here, which goes to the iron provider and requester stations. And then we have the stone, for example, here. But they all have the same schedule except the station names, of course. So it's really easy to change out these. And then as soon as you got one train for everything going, you can simply go ahead and copy these schedules to the next train to get more of them going. And I would definitely advise you to get quite a few going, and then you're gonna be fine with that. Okay, so I hope you guys liked this episode. If you did, then please leave a like, comment and subscribe as I said earlier. Hit the bell if you want to get a notification as soon as I upload another video. And once again, a big thank you to all of you who have already subscribed to my channel. Bye!